Hey, what's up guys? Kendrick Dish here with another bag to talk about. This is the Patagonia Headway MLC. It's a 40-liter travel bag. Gonna dive into it. I took it with me on a 5-week trip to Europe. And I have some photos and some videos from that trip to show you how I used it, and I wanna give you my thoughts on this bag. But first, who am I? I'm Kendrick Dish. This channel is all about digital stuff and the digital life, and I'm a photographer and a video maker, a filmmaker, and I use tools and I use software, and I just sometimes want to share some of the stuff I've learned over the years, and hopefully you guys might find value out of it. And because I know I find value on YouTube from all the other people doing bag reviews and camera reviews and software reviews and stuff like that. So I'm just in here in the crowd trying to do my thing. And if you like what I have to say, or you like some of this digital stuff, just hit subscribe. And I try and keep it coming on a pretty regular basis, although lately I've been a little busy. Anyway, so what is this bag? This bag is a travel bag. It's 40 liters. It's made by Patagonia. And I have a little bit of a confession to make. This is not the newest version of this bag. I didn't know that though. It looks very similar. It is very similar to the newer version. They did make a few upgrades in the newer version. But it doesn't matter. Mostly this is about how it carries and how much stuff it can carry, and is this style of a carry bag for you? And that's what this video is going to talk about a little bit. So first I want to just kind of get into it from a philosophical perspective, I'd say. Like, why did I take this bag? Well, for one thing, it was a 5-week trip to Europe. I had several bags. I had a backpack with me already, and I had a roller with me already. So I already had those two things, and I needed a third bag. And to be honest, carrying 2 backpacks is not something I want to do, and having 2 rollers is not something I want to do. So I was trying to think of how do I want to carry some more of this stuff, and essentially this messenger style carry was the solution. So wear the backpack, and then pull the roller, and then throw this over your body, and you have the messenger bag. So it can be worn like that. It's a messenger style carry. It can also be a briefcase carry. But one of the nice things about this bag is it's actually a backpack as well. So you can pop out these straps from here, and you can carry it like a backpack. I did that a little bit once I was in Europe, because I needed a bag for certain things, and we'll get into that in just a second. But once you got the straps out, there's little clips that have a little hideaway pocket right here. I don't know if you can see that, but they hide away. You pull out the little clips, and then you just clip right to it. I'll go ahead and do this side real quick. And then you've got backpack carry. It actually works pretty well. It's not the most comfortable way. It's not the most comfortable backpack of all time. But when I used it as a backpack, here's the 2 times I used it as a backpack. I went to the grocery store, and in Europe, at least I was in Portugal. In Portugal, they charge you for bags. And so this was a perfect way to not get charged for a bag. You take the backpack to the grocery store, you put your groceries in there, and we didn't have a car, so we were walking around, and that actually made it pretty nice to be able to just use a backpack to carry your groceries around. Now, second is I went to the laundromat once a week, and I was there for 5 weeks. So that's a lot of times walking to the laundromat, and this worked perfectly to go to the laundromat. It fit just about one decently sized load of laundry, and it just worked perfectly. You didn't have to have another bag, just throw it in here. So I carried it around like this some, and the straps I've definitely worn worse, and they're pretty good. It has a sternum strap here as well, to help with the weight distribution a little bit. But it's not bad. I don't mind it. And of course the messenger strap is removable, which I did do several times. You just pop the messenger strap off like that. Super easy. you tuck your little, after that, you tuck your little snaps back into here, put the backpack straps away. Now, what I did, I also checked this bag a couple of times. So instead of taking a larger roller with me on some of the flights within Europe, I took a backpack and I checked this bag. Now, when I checked it, I took the strap off, put the backpack straps away, and so it was basically just it's kind of like a duffel at that point. And honestly, this bag works a lot like a duffel. It's comfortable. The handles, the materials that this thing has are actually really nice. So before we dive into the pockets and stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about the outside a little bit more. It's got a handle on what would be the top. It's got a handle here on what would be the side. There is not another handle here, and there's not a handle on what would be the bottom. Now, if you can see this, you can kind of see that the front of this has a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that, has a little bit of just, it's worn out. This bag was in brand new condition before I left. So basically just checking it a couple of times, and it really kind of damaged the outside of this bag and made it like, it's scratched, it's roughed up, there's some, I don't know if it's stains or if it's just discoloration, but there's all kinds of scratches. And so it's not the best bag to check. It doesn't have the durability of like a real suitcase. This material is pretty lightweight. And if I check my notes here, it is 940 denier Cordura ballistic nylon with a polyurethane coating. It does have a water repellent finish, and while it was being checked out on the runway during it was a rainy season in Europe, I could see it getting rain. I can see this bag. I saw it was raining, and I saw them putting luggage in the plane. And you know, when I went to the baggage claim, it had gotten rained on. So pictures, you can see some of the pictures of the rain and how it held up to the rain. My stuff on the inside stayed pretty dry, and it wasn't a huge amount of water that got on here. It was a few minutes of drizzle. Not too bad. I'm not too worried about the water part of it, but just think about that if you use it as a checked bag and your entire wardrobe for the whole trip is in here, and it rains a lot while it's sitting on the runway, you know, out there on the runway getting rained on. Just think about that. Just keep it in mind. It worked out pretty well for me. Your mileage may vary. Like I said, this is not the newest version of this bag. This version, I think, is called like Generation 5. It was released in 2009, and I think in 2014 they released version 6 or Generation 6. I don't have the Generation 6 to make the comparisons. I've just looked at some pictures online. It's very similar. In fact, it's so similar, I didn't even realize there was a different version. So not that big of a deal, but keep that in mind. Now, when I used this thing, I stuffed it absolutely to the brim. Like, I'm talking about trying to bust the zippers. Like, I was like, this thing is definitely gonna bust open. But it did not. The zippers on the main compartment are YKK, and they're pretty big. I don't know the number, but they're really big, and they actually work pretty well. No issues there. The rest of the zippers are not as big, but they also work really well. No issues with any of the zippers. And they are YKK as well. Now you can see me fumbling a little bit with this, and it's not because of the zipper, it's because the zipper pulls. These zipper pulls are really little. They're so tiny, and they're hard to get my fingers on, especially if you got gloves on or it's cold out, or you know, you're carrying some stuff and you're trying to get into it. It's like these zipper pulls are not very big. I would replace, you know, if I kept this bag and used it for more travel, I think I would probably replace these with something larger, something easier to grab onto. And they make they make aftermarket zipper pulls. You can get all sorts of different ones, but I would probably upgrade the zipper pulls. On this main pocket, they're a little bigger. and it makes it quite a bit easier to hold on to. So the pockets, there are 4 pockets on this thing. There's this front pocket, and inside of this front pocket, it goes all the way down and all the way across, and it goes up a little bit here. So it's actually this whole front compartment. And inside of there, I know it's really hard to see, this opening is not very large. There's some organization. There's a mesh pocket right here, and then there's some pen organizers here and some other little organizers, but it's kind of like just to keep your stuff a little organized. This would make a really good passport pocket right there. In fact, like, field notes, but it's kind of like just perfect for right there. And it's easy to get into. You just pop it open. You got your little mesh pocket there. There you go. Now, that's that pocket. It doesn't have a whole lot of depth, but you could fit maybe a small jacket or some snacks and a magazine. It has a little bit of depth to it. The next pocket is this one here, and it is a kind of a fold-out pocket like this. It kind of does this. But it does have depth. It has a couple of inches of depth. And you can see in the video here that I had a lot of stuff in this bag. I ended up having 3 medium to large packing cubes and a 4th shirt packing cube. So basically 4 packing cubes plus a few other little things like a belt and 1 or 2 other things. So I had a crap ton of stuff stuffed in here. But this pocket doesn't have any organization in it. It's just for storage of some stuff. You can put stuff in there. That's that pocket. Now we're onto the main pocket, and it zips all the way around like a book. I think they call this a book opening. Now, okay, you can see some of the depth. It's like a suitcase. It's got about 3 inches of depth here, and it's one big open compartment. Inside of here is a very nice removable organizer, and it helps keep the load, like you can bundle it down. But you can fit all sorts of knickknacks in here, like sunscreens and I mean, I don't know what all you can fit in here. Flip-flops maybe, if you're going to somewhere warm. Maybe an extra pair of gloves if you're going somewhere cold. And then this thing can also hang. So maybe you put like your soaps and shampoos in here and your toiletries, and you can kind of use this as a toiletry bag, take it to the bathroom and hang it up if you're into that. And it's got 4 attachment points on the inside, and each one is, at least on this thing, they're adjustable. So once you get your load in here, you can actually like cinch it down, and it can kind of help keep things in place. If you have packing cubes, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but if you don't have packing cubes, you kind of got your clothes under here, and it keeps them nice and tidy, especially with TSA getting into everything. But that's kind of this pocket, and you can see in the video that I pulled a bunch of packing cubes out of there. You can also see how floppy this thing is. It's kind of a floppy bag. It's like a duffel in that case. Now we're onto the back pocket, the last pocket. It does not open all the way. It opens like 3/4. And this is extra padded. It's got some padding back here, especially from the backpack straps. It's a little bit padded on this side, but this would be your laptop. This would be for a laptop. But it is ginormous. It goes the whole width of the bag here, the whole height and width of the bag. So a laptop it floats around in there a whole lot. For the laptop pocket, this is a 13-inch MacBook Pro. I can fit it in. I could fit 2 of them in there side by side. Like this is, you can kind of see, it only takes up half of it. I can slide this one all the way to the other side, and I could fit 2 13-inch MacBook Pros side by side in this pocket. But what that means is this thing slides around and floats around in there without some sort of protection. And it's also not quite padded enough that I would trust it all by itself floating around in this here. So I don't know that this is a super great laptop pocket. You could have like maybe your laptop in another protector of some sort, and maybe that would help. It also doesn't really have extra foam like on the sides, so if you set your bag down hard, you could hit the laptop on the concrete on the like what would be considered the bottom. Like if you're carrying it like a backpack and you set it down like this, there's not padding, and it doesn't keep the laptop lifted off the ground. So that's a little bit of a concern. It would be nice if there was a layer of foam in here to protect it, and maybe one on this side to protect it from here. There's plenty of space for that, but I just don't know that I would trust my laptop floating around in here loose, getting banged all over the place. So keep that in mind if this is something you're interested in. That's kind of a tour of the bag, and my experience with the bag was that it held up really well to that, except for the damage on the front. I really like stuffed this thing super full, and I just sent it through European Airways airlines and hoped for the best, and it worked out for me. It may not for you. I don't know, your mileage may vary. One other thing I wanted to talk about is this strap. This is the older strap. I know in the newer model the strap is updated. So I could not figure out what the strap, this older strap has a division here. Like has a divider, and I have no idea why. Like I never did. It's a little too, not quite wide enough to slip over some luggage, and even if you have that, I'm not sure that it did what that would be designed for. Maybe you can't grab it like this. I don't know. I don't have any idea. If anybody knows in the audience, you can tell me. But the newer version doesn't have this kind of strap anyway. And then the other last thing about it is that while it was pretty comfortable enough, I couldn't get it to stay on my shoulder. It just slid off. It just went every single time. You know, you're wearing a jacket or a slick jacket. I was wearing a puffy jacket. It had, you know, kind of a slick surface, and I just couldn't get this thing to stay on. So I'm carrying a backpack, I've got a roller, and I've got this thing slipping off. I ended up having to do definitely cross body was the only way that worked. But this is a cool bag. I love Patagonia and their mission. They make good stuff. I'm not too worried about the quality of it. I just would be more, you know, it's not as durable as luggage. It's more like a bag, so you gotta treat it like a bag. Anyway, that's the Patagonia MLC Headway. MLC stands for Maximum Legal Carry-On, and it did a fantastic job. So thanks for sticking in here while I did this for so long talking about this bag. I got other bags on this channel. I've got a pile of bags back here to review, including, I don't know how interested you guys are in this bag. This is, oh, it's upside down. This is the Peak Design travel bag, 40-liter travel bag, or from up to 45-liter travel bag. So I just got this in, and I'm excited to do a first look and a review. So subscribe if you want to see that too. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.